All right, so this lesson is all about how to plan a well-balanced Pilates class. So we're going to cover what to include in your class so that it ticks all the boxes and how to plan a well-balanced but challenging reformer class. So most of the time when people come to a reformer Pilates class, they want to feel like they've had a workout. That's why they're coming. It's not particularly because they want to and love Pilates, but it's really that they want to get a workout. They want to feel like they've worked their core. So for them, that probably means some abdominals. And a lot of people feel like they want to do some stretches. A lot of people associate Pilates with some stretches. Now, I feel like when people are new to Pilates, we really have to try to work to get them and convince them that they want to keep coming. So when you've got new clients, you want to kind of give them the elements of what you know they want. So that workout, a feeling of burn in their abs or glutes, and that bit of a stretch. And then start to add in elements of what you know they need. And then as they're hooked on your sessions and Pilates, then you can start to teach them what Pilates is really all about. And you can start to help them understand the Pilates method a little bit more. But I wouldn't try and do that all in one session. So when clients are starting for the first time, like we said, we want to give them elements of what they want and what we know they need. And this is going to help create that buy-in. So as you build that trust with your clients, you know that you can start to add on and give them the Pilates experience that you really want them to have. So there's a few different things that I focus on when I teach a reformer Pilates class. And this is not by any means how every class has to be taught. This is just what I did to try to help me with my teaching. And you can use this or you can use elements of this, and you can really create your own sort of performer and style. But I find that if you have a little bit of a structure to how you want your classes to run, it'll save you a hell of a lot of time. So first of all, we've got a warm-up, we've got some ab work, upper body work, lower body work, so full body integration or the challenging segment of your session, and then spinal articulation or mobility and stretches. And that's kind of how you cover all the basics. So with your warm-up, it's usually just a couple of exercises. And the main aim of this is, one, to get your class warmed up, to get them moving. It's not too intense. You want them to start to move their body, move their spine, depending on what you're working on in that session. And you really just want them to tune out from their days, tune out from what they've been doing before they came into your session, and start to pay attention to their body, start to connect their mind and their body, and start to pay attention to what you're wanting them to do. So it's a really good chance for you to set the scene. And I often find using exercises that really try to calm the clients down. You might do a few little breathing exercises. Maybe you do a little bit of spinal mobility, something where you can really get them to stop thinking about what they were doing and just start to set the scene. The other thing I like about doing the warm-up is trying to use it as a kind of point to go around to my clients and check in on how they're going. So if I haven't had time to chat to them beforehand, then as they're doing their roll downs or their cat stretches or their foot series, then I go in and check in on them and see how they're doing, make sure that they're feeling okay, see if anything's changed in their body. And so picking an exercise that you know is easy for them to do and maybe allows you a chance to check in on people or go and chat to some of the newer clients that you haven't met before. So then I like to follow on with some ab work. And I usually try about 3 to 6 ab exercises, and I layer them on top of one another like we did with our exercise clusters. And this really challenges them in their abdominals. It gives them that chance to challenge their endurance of their abdominals and gives them that feeling like they're working their core. Then I like to try and weave in some leg and arm work. So often all the exercises we work on are quite full body, but you know that some of the exercises you do are going to be more upper body focused or more lower body focused. So I'd like to try and incorporate some arm exercises. So that might be some kneeling arm work, some prone on the long box work. And then I like to incorporate some leg work. So whether that's specifically working on something, some adductors or glutes, or whether that's some lunges, really trying to incorporate their lower body into the workout as well. And then I like to kind of wind all that sort of stuff up with a full body integration exercise. This is where you add that challenge level for your clients. Now, full body integration exercises, they're, like they sound, they're generally a full body exercise, and that means that you're kind of integrating all different elements of different exercises. So they require awareness and use of your whole body, and they usually require control, coordination, and will often require you to stabilize one part of your body whilst you're moving another. And generally, they're the more challenging exercises, more intermediate to advanced. So I look at these exercises being like maybe your weight-bearing exercises. So something like a plank, knee stretches, long stretch, side plank, something where you're really having to focus in on all areas of your body and everything is working and moving, as opposed to footwork or supine ab work. So the full body integration, I usually try and include like 1 to 3 exercises. So it could be 3 different exercises, or it could be breakdowns of an advanced exercise. So just layering on that full body integration and that challenge. So you could also then have 3 separate exercises, and you could flow them and join them in together. So as an example of that, maybe you were getting someone to do long stretch, so you did long stretch, and then you did push-ups on their toes, and then you got them into a side plank and did something in that position, and then you did the same thing and did it on the other side. Some examples. So I still think you have full body integration with beginners. They're just not as challenging. So you might have long stretch prep, so knees on the carriage, elephants, kneeling side plank, knee stretches. In the advanced and intermediate repertoire, then you're looking at things like up stretch, teaser, tendon stretch, control front, all of those more challenging exercises that call on every element that you've worked on before. So the next element, and it kind of really helps to cool the class down and to wind down the nervous system, is your spinal mobility. So these exercises include movement of your spine, so flexion, extension, rotation, lateral flexion. And I usually try to include 1 to 3 of these exercises, and it really depends on what I've done throughout the class. So if I feel like lots of the exercises throughout the class have been really flexion-based, then I'll try to include a little bit of extension work or some rotation work, something like that. So it generally is a way to balance out the class with that spinal mobility. And then the stretching, I usually have maybe a couple of stretches towards the end, and again, I use it as a chance to wind the class down, get them to take a few breaths, and I usually try to incorporate the stretching areas or stretching areas of the body that they've worked throughout the session. So if we did a lot of glute work, we might add some glute stretches. If we did a lot of heavy kind of quad work, then maybe we'd stretch out the quads. So you're trying to focus on those areas that you've worked on a lot throughout the class, or if you know that your clients are really tight in specific areas, maybe you stretch those areas throughout the class. So, little hot tip, always have an extra block of exercises, extra block or 2 of exercises written down so you can get through your class plan. So if you get through your class plan too quickly, you can then move on to something else. So pick something that you know is really easy for you to teach. It's going to fill the time, because often when you're especially when you're first getting started, you'll whiz through your class plan, get to the end, and you don't want to feel like you're panicking. So just nice and easy to have something already there, ready to go. So your task is just to try and use this class planning formula or a mixture of this with your own added flair and plan a well-balanced class. If you want feedback on your class in terms of the exercise selection or spring tension or maybe even the class flow or the exercise clusters, then pop it in the Facebook group and I can give you some feedback.